brought him in. Everyone that was there talking, except one person, said, we don't want this going on. You're going to pull out all these oak trees, and you're talking about green, environmental things? What sense does that make? The schools can't even put up with the people that would move in there. And like this other thing, parking these cars out into the ambulance, just this other thing just came up. That's a city ordinance, a public nuisance. It's very simple to deal with. They keep doing it, write them up, tow them in. But to sit here and listen to the city council and listen to all of this stuff, read the papers. Redevelopment is over $100 billion in debt. Now, either they're in total denial or they just won't admit it. Either way, it's obvious. Now, if they don't start listening to the people, it's up to you people to react. Because you've got to get someone there and says, no, without it being passed, we're not going to go along with annexation without Hammer Valley, unless the people as a collective group come to do it. Same way with Pacheco Boulevard. Same way with marijuana initiative. You'll notice none of them are talking about any of these things right now because it's election time. You'll see all the big pretty posters. And Mayor, you told me that at the last meeting that those signs of yours were attached to the telephone pole out there, because I'm getting ready to put up some signs. Because you guys tear mine down as quick as I put them up. But I'm going to flood the area this time. But I figured I'd wait till the last 5 weeks. And you told me, in fact, so did Phil Vince, actually. It was Phil Vince that said this, that they would be removed. And it was even said that you would have the staff remove them. Well, I don't think the staff should have to remove any sign that any one of us put up, because that's not what they're paid for. And unless we go along with the rules, you should be chastised for it. But you know what? It's about time that people start coming forward like that guy right there did, and stand up and say, you know what? You work for us. Either do it our way, or you're not going to do it anymore.
All right. Actually, Mike, it was not me that said that the staff was going to take down signs, so I don't know who said it.
Well, why not?
Thank you, Bill. Mr. Fitzgerald.
Thanks, Mike. I agree with everything you said. I'll sit down now. The first gentleman that spoke, I couldn't agree with you more. And I appreciate you getting up here, and actually you should be a public speaker. I'm running for mayor in Martinez because I'm sick and tired of what's going on at the city council and with the mayor, to be quite honest with you. The fact is, there's so much that can be done in this city, a city that I love and we all love. But we all have to come together, and I'm not going to sit there and vilify individuals here that are sitting here or anywhere else.
I will.
We have to do something collectively to get the city going, and it truly starts with us. We can't rely on anybody who are city officials right now. It's obvious. And during the debate the other day, we had about 2 weeks ago actually, the mayor had mentioned, well, John, all these ideas are great, but we don't have the money. Well, you know what? They had the money during the boom. This economy was flourishing for years. And what was done at the marina? Nothing. I go down there every day. I go to the wharf there. Right there, I see boards that are loose with screws sticking out. I videotape it. You can actually go on my website, johnfitzgeraldformayor.com, and you'll see a board flipping back and forth with kids fishing there with his father, with a screw about 3 inches long. That's a lawsuit waiting to happen, and worse than that, a horrible accident. They're dilapidated, some of these boards. Nothing's being done. So during the boom, what was being done? Nothing. The $4 million was earmarked for the marina. Where'd it go? Well, we understand it was just absorbed in the general fund. Why wasn't it spent down there? The grand jury report got into this. I don't understand it. It seems like nobody understands it. Why wasn't the money spent down there? But beyond that, it's great that the mayor and the city council want to get these organizations together here so we can speak to them. Let me tell you what's happened to me several times when I've actually spoken to these individuals. Dave Scola, and I try to vilify, as I said, but I'm going to be very honest with you. We had a hot tub that was dumped illegally. I went to the police department. The police department, this was about 5 years ago, he said, what do you want us to do about it? You know, we could find you guilty of littering. I said, I'm here because the guy that I asked to actually dump this dumped it illegally on Franklin Canyon Road, and I'm here because I know who he is. And he said, well, that's out of our jurisdiction. Go to the sheriff department. I go to the sheriff department. What do they say? That's the police jurisdiction. This is what I got. 5 days later, it was still there. My hot tub that I wanted to dump legally was dumped illegally. It was still there. So you know what I did? I put a sign on it saying, my name is so-and-so. I dumped this illegally. Here's my phone number. You know what I got? I got a phone call from the sheriff's department chewing me out. Why did you do that? I said, because you haven't done a darn thing about it, neither have the police. That's what it's going to take. But check this out, it gets worse than that. Because guess what happened after that? Nothing was done, it was still there. I get a phone call again, the lady goes, this is the sheriff. You know, John, we don't want to issue him a ticket. $1,000 ticket. We want revenue, we want to fix things downtown. Revenue, $1,000 for illegally dumping. I took 30 pictures of stuff illegally dumped near the creek bed there, too. They gave him a warning. This is a guy that pays supposedly taxes and is a legitimate contractor to dump. You know what I was told later on? The sheriff's department told me, well, the county takes care of it. We have people go around and collect the stuff. I said, why don't you stick with people that do it all the time? The police department. Yes, the police department. I'll wrap it up. The motorcycle issue. Years ago, I spoke about the motorcycle. There's a city ordinance. There are laws. If it's over a decibel level. Chief Kataya said, we'll take care of it. Every time we went to these meetings, he never had the reports to show how many tickets he issued, because he didn't issue more than one. We have so much revenue with these motorcyclists right now. In other ordinances, I'm not trying to pick on motorcycles, they're beautiful. But the fact is, there are things that can be done and it's revenue. People, please understand, they don't want to do anything but pass this ridiculous policy called development, when we have all these homes, as the man alluded to earlier. We have tons of homes available right now. It's a scam. It's a fact. It runs on debt out of Sacramento to lobbyists. Thank you. I'm John Fitzgerald running for mayor, and I will work for you.
All right. Anyone else running for office that would like to speak? No? Okay, I see some hands. I saw a lady on the far right.
I just want to acknowledge a good thing about the council. I'd say 3 years ago, I approached them with a fire abatement problem in our neighborhood. And within 2 weeks, Bob Cellini called me, and from that time, I've never had to call ConFire or the fire prevention people. They're out there, it's getting plowed every spring, and this year, it's been done 2 or 3 times. So thank you.
Did Harry give you anything? No? Harry?
No,
Okay.
you don't want me to hear you.
Marshall?
Yes, I just want to make one comment about something that I mentioned to Mark. In the meeting last week, Rose brought this up about what's happening to Marina Vista and Ferry Street. And, it didn't really sound like it got a lot of traction, but let me remake the point that if you have a boater that's pulling a trailer and they're going in opposite direction, those trailers have arms that stick out like that, right? So now, the amount of room that's made available by this engineering fee is going to create problems for the city. While